31 years, 129 days. That's how long Kenilworth Road has been waiting to taste top-flight football. Tonight, that wait comes to an end as Luton Town host West Ham United live on Talksport. Not long to go. Kick-off at 8 p.m. Already a fantastic atmosphere. Not just Luton Town fans, young and old who are here, club legends who have made their way for a special night. Just watching Mick Harford on the screens, for some reason standing alongside West Ham fan James Corden, who's also here, and lots of cameras trained on the new signing for Luton, Albert Sambi Lokonga, who is sitting just beside us in the main stand. But already, as I say, a fantastic night. The West Ham fans in the Oak stand to our left, in Fine Boys too, and we're going to hear a little bit more of them because there's a hole in the roof above them, so plenty of sound going to be bleeding out onto the pitch from there tonight. I'm Hugh Woozencroft on Game Day Countdown Live, alongside the former West Ham first team coach Stuart Pearce and Nigel Adderley. And listen, just looking ahead to the game, Stuart, I felt at times Luton have maybe shown a little bit of fear in their play so far in the Premier League. Just a little bit too reactionary, maybe lack the requisite intensity as well. How do they address that tonight?
Well, I think key to the first two games, certainly in the Premier League, were the fact that they were probably starved of the ball playing against the two sides they played against, and that rocked their confidence. Add to that, they didn't score in the game and the opposition scored first, and you can't get the ball back. Tonight will be slightly different. West Ham are not a possession-dominating type of side, so Luton, I think, will have an even share of the ball. It's just what you do with it then.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because the initiative will be on West Ham tonight to carry the game to Luton, but they've only averaged 23% possession in their last two games. They did score 6 goals in that time, of course, but does that maybe show that they're a better counter-attack team than a possession side?
Oh, 100%. They're definitely that. You know, and that's been the case certainly going back the last 3 or 4 years. We've been, when I say we, when we were at West Ham, the counter-attack threat was fantastic, and that remains now. And I think West Ham, and what I've seen, are almost back to that time 2 years ago when they finished 6th and 7th in the league with their football.
The expectation is that West Ham United will win here tonight, but maybe Kenilworth Road will provide the Luton Town players with that extra 5-10% they need to register their first points in the Premier League. It's a lovely evening here in Luton as the two teams make their way out onto the pitch. Luton Town, of course, in their famous orange shirts. West Ham United all in white, and you're about to hear the fans to receive them here at Kenilworth Road. Indeed, the Luton Town fans do make some noise here. Kenilworth Road has seen some famous nights over the years. This is the ground that witnessed Luton's Joe Payne score 10 goals in a 12-0 win over Bristol Rovers back in 1936, but that is still a record that exists in the English football leagues. This is the ground that saw Alan Brown fire the Hatters past Blackpool and into the FA Cup semi-final in front of over 30,000, and this is the ground where fans poured onto the pitch in an expression of mass joy with a 2-0 win over Oxford that sealed a League Cup final berth, and a trip to Wembley where they went on to beat Arsenal for their first major trophy. There have been highs here, but there have also been lows. A number of relegations over the years. The lowest there in 2009 when defeat by Brighton here ended their 89-year stay in the Football League. That was their 3rd straight relegation. 5 years spent in non-league. They described it as false imprisonment. So who could have dreamt that 10 years after coming back to the EFL, their home, the old girl of Kenilworth Road would witness Premier League football? Tonight could be a final big historical moment to savour in the 118 years of this ground before they move to a new £120 million home at Power Court. But these fans will be savouring each and every moment. It is live and exclusive Premier League action on Talksport for the first time from Kenilworth Road. Luton Town versus West Ham, with your former England defender Stuart Pearce and Talksport's Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Hugh. Good evening once again. And when Luton were losing to the likes of Braintree and Tamworth in non-league, a return to the glory days when David Pleat managed to get this team to punch well above their weight whilst playing an attractive style of football. That seemed fanciful, and they don't really do fanciful here in Luton. But a club which fell out of the league due to financial issues has been patiently rebuilt by a band of dedicated people who never gave up on that dream of returning this club to where it once was. And here they are. It might turn out to be a struggle this season, but Luton Town have earned their place in the Premier League. And for those who kept the faith on those dark, gloomy trips back from Alfreton and Southport, tonight really is for them. But Luton must do without their club captain Tom Lockyer this evening. Not involved. Issa Kabore is also on the bench. So Mads Andersen, one of the summer signings from Barnsley, he starts at home in the Premier League. And Alfie Doughty also returns to the side. It is Kaminsky in goal, Burke, Anderson and Bell, three central defenders. Doughty and Giles in the wild areas. Chong, Nakamba and Barkley supporting Morris and Adebayo in attack. And Carlton Morris has the honour of captaining Luton in their first home game in the Premier League. West Ham, of course, looking for 3 wins in 4 games to start the season for the first time since 1999. 2 changes for them. Agerd comes back into the side along with Ben Rama. Ogbonna drops out and Souček is unavailable due to concussion. It is Areola in goal, Soufal, Zuma, Agerd and Emerson, Bowen, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse and Ben Rama, Paqueta and Antonio. And there has been so much anticipation building up to this game here tonight. Luton Town, a club which came back from the dead, our Premier League, and Kenilworth Road becomes the 61st different venue to host Premier League football, and it's live and exclusive here on Talksport as West Ham look to attack with a long ball forward right from the start. Luton wearing orange shirts and black shorts, West Ham in all white, and Stuart Pearce, it really is a privilege to be here.
It certainly is. I think it's an absolute fairy tale story. Luton getting where they are. They've done it by hard work, good play, good management, you name it, good coaching. But this game tonight, I think, is so important for this football club. And I think Thomas Souček, just to mention that, missing from the ranks of West Ham and his aerial ability, could be a big miss tonight.
Luton attacking the Oak Road end away to our left-hand side in the first half. That has the West Ham supporters behind that goal. And as you were saying before kick-off, the roof still has a hole in it, and the guttering is hanging off in one corner, so they've not really got round to developing that side of the ground, and nor will they, it seems. But it's a long throw for Luton, potentially on the far side, taken by Doughty. Short in the end. Doughty with the opportunity to play in the cross, but it's quickly closed down. Back to Nakamba. Chong is square of him. Giles in space down the right-hand side, but it's all the way back towards Amari Bell. But now Chong has space to come forward. Down the left-hand side, early cross in, looking for Adebayo, and the shot driven in by Barkley. Snatched at the volley, but it's just wide. But it's a moment of positivity for Luton.
Yeah, it's that type of ball into the box that Luton will look to get. People will go in on the end of it. They got physical presence in the 2 strikers. And then from there, obviously the likes of Barkley looking to support the edge of the box.
11,451 days since top-flight football was played here, when Luton beat Aston Villa in April of 1992, and Mark Pembridge was the last Luton player to score in the top flight. West Ham were also relegated that season, so they were not able to become founder members of the Premier League either. But they did win here, and they are the last top-flight team to win here, although, of course, Luton have been away for some time. Now Ward-Prowse wearing number 7 on this near side. Such a good start to his West Ham career, as West Ham look for 3 Premier League wins in their first 4 for the first time since 1999, when Stuart Pearce was the left back.
Yeah, straight away Luton without the ball drop into a sort of 5-3-2 scenario. So when anybody does that, you've got to work the ball, work it from side to side, and make sure the 3-man midfielder have got their work cut out sliding across.
Morris rises to win a header, looking for Adebayo. 2 players who have risen from the lower leagues to be the strike partnership for Luton in the Premier League. Morris had an excellent season last season, scoring 20 goals. Goals were harder to come by for Adebayo after 16 2 seasons ago. As West Ham look to build on this near side, Soufal will take a throw in, but we briefly have two balls on the pitch. It's a new division, a new stand on the far side for Luton, but still the same old pillar obscuring the view of our goal away to the right-hand side. We're in the old press box here at Kenilworth Road. Many of our colleagues are along a very long gantry slung beneath the roof of the new stand, the bobber stand on the far side, which has replaced the old corporate boxes here at Kenilworth Road, and Luton pulled that down pretty much the minute the full-time whistle went in the playoff final, and that's why their first home game against Burnley was postponed to give them more time to get this ground ready. Now Morris turning into trouble, but then working hard to win it back, sliding in the centre circle, and here is Chong with that shock of hair, wide to this near side, and Giles with the cross into the penalty area, headed down by Adebayo, but behind Morris, and it will be cleared away by Alvarez up to the halfway line. Now Bowie, quickly challenged though by the retreating Giles. Now Bell just in front of us down the Luton left-hand side. 4 minutes played here on Talksport. Luton 0, West Ham 0 in the Premier League. If you want coverage of transfer deadline day currently, retune to Talksport 2 with Adrian Durham and Alex Crook. Download the Talksport app and you can swipe between that programme and the commentary here. And Alex and Jim White will be along at 10 o'clock here on Talksport with the conclusion of transfer deadline day. And you can follow our dedicated blog with all the big deals as they come in on Talksport.com as Zuma plays it wide to the far side. Adegerd back in the West Ham team after being sent off against Chelsea. A good ball forward from him to find Benrahma down the left. He slows down though by Doughty as he approached the Kenilworth Road end, and he overruns the ball and it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, Doughty just got caught out there, sort of ball watching. Benrahma, once he gets the opposite side, he very, very difficult to catch. Just his first control was not good enough, and allowed Doughty to get back goal side.
And the noise rattling around this old stadium. Of course, three sides pretty much untouched apart from cosmetic changes following promotion. It's always atmospheric, it's always partisan, and that's been turned up one or two notches here this evening as first Nakamba and then Adebayo are sent sprawling on the far side, and it will be a free kick for Luton. 10 yards inside the West Ham half, wide on the right-hand side, and set pieces, you feel, not just tonight, but throughout the whole season will be so important for Luton.
Oh, they certainly will. I mean, you've seen when that ball goes in the box, there's willing headers in the ball. The one thing I would say, I've been a little bit disappointed in these early stages. Morris has lost a couple of headers to Agard early on, and it's his job to secure that ball or get flick-ons. 6
minutes played, 0-0 at Kenilworth Road in Luton's home Premier League debut. Barkley with the free kick, high into the area, headed up in the air by Paquetá. It's loose inside the 6-yard box, cleared away as Giles on this near side, and in the end Alvarez is able to step in and hack the ball away. It's now controlled by Bell on the halfway line. Long diagonal from him, looking for Doughty, the other wing back on the right, headed away by Emerson into the new stand on the far side, and it will be a throw-in for Luton Town.
You can't help thinking, Nige, this first goal in the game, you know, it'll either puncture Luton and puncture the atmosphere here, or, well, it'll rank up fourfold.
Well, West Ham have won their opening two games in succession for the first time in a long time, as a ball forward for Luton is hacked away on the far side by Benrahma. And this place could get very quiet very quickly if West Ham do score, but at the moment the home crowd, like the team, are buoyant. 0-0 with 7.5 minutes played on Talksport. On a rather humid evening. It was a grey afternoon, but the temperature has been maintained by the cloud cover, which is still evident overhead as Barkley closes down the ball forward on the far side from Paquetá. And here is Ward-Prowse over the top down the right, looking for Soufal, where they burst into the penalty area, but Kaminski was alert to the danger, took up a very good starting position, and claims for Luton Town, defending the goal away to our right.
Yeah, it's important for Luton, certainly. They're dropping back into a five-man back line, but West Ham have attempted a ball over the top for Benrahma, which he got on the end of, and on that occasion just overhit slightly, and the goalkeeper bailing the wing back out.
A long ball played forward again. This time Morris does win the header. Zuma Gets there before Adebayo, though, and eventually it's hammered away on the far side. Almost a cup tie feel inside this game at the start. 8 minutes played, 0-0.
Yeah, it's that type of header by Morris that has sustained the ball in the final third of West Ham and managed to get a throw-in their favour.
Now Bell. Wide towards Anderson, who is in for Tom Lockyer, not involved for Luton tonight. Now, played forward neatly by Burke, looking to commit the West Ham midfield. It was back to him from Doughty, but it was overhit straight out of play, just in front of the two technical areas. Very little room in front of the stand on the far side. David Moyes barking out instructions to Emerson just in front of him at the moment.
Yeah, it's a big game for Reece Burke as well. You know, he's at West Ham when I was there first time round and worked with him. Fantastic young man, and for him to be in the Premier League level, having been moved on from West Ham, would be great.
Born in Newham, very much West Ham country, arrived at Luton via Hull City, and he will be 27 tomorrow, so this would be the ideal birthday present. Now Zuma. And more transfer news coming in on the Talksport network, and we can tell you a loan switch has been completed for the Leicester City midfielder Boubakary Soumaré to La Liga side Sevilla, and that's been agreed subject to league approval. Of course, the deadline closes at 11 o'clock, but deals will be filtering through with various bits and pieces of paper shuffling across Europe via fax machines until long into the night, as West Ham have a throw-in on this near side. Soufal will look to hurl this one long into the penalty area. And every single orange shirt is back defending for Luton, in towards the near post. It was right behind the pillar, so I have to say I've no idea who cleared it, but here is Soufal again on this near side. I always think, Stuart, get the excuses in early.
We've certainly done plenty of that over 8 years, haven't we? Let's be honest.
West Ham coming forward now on the far side with Paquetá. Of course, there was interest in him from Manchester City during the transfer window, but other issues called that, and he's still a West Ham player.
I'm interested to see this triangle of midfield players at West Ham here with Alvarez, Paquetá and Ward-Prowse. They look very comfortable with the ball. Nice little balance off, Alvarez being the deeper, the point man of the three.
11 minutes played, 0-0. West Ham beginning to establish themselves. Antonio clips a good ball wide to the far side, and Emerson maybe thought about the early cross, but just delays and finds Paquetá. And now the Brazilian over the top again, looking for the run of Emerson, but just in front of the VAR area on the far side. Reece Burke will step in and hook the ball away, and it will be a throw-in for West Ham United. Now Zuma on the halfway line. David Moyes has a very good record against Luton, primarily during his time with Preston in the lower divisions. Overall, it is 6 wins and a draw against them. Zuma plays it wide to the far side again, and Emerson. And now the space for Benrahma, and he's away from Burke, heading towards the byline. Benrahma's done well to deliver the cross into the penalty area, and it's headed away at the far post by Giles. Quickly back into the penalty area by Soufal, and then volley clear, and then Benrahma with the shot. And it was wide of the near post in the end, but Luton there almost paying the price for not clearing their lines.
Yeah, they certainly were. The problem started with Doughty, the right wing back, stepped out, didn't get the ball, and once Benrahma gets behind you, you've got a cross coming into the box, and then it went out the other side and whipped in once again. Soufal, who's got a great feel for a ball with his right foot.
Now Alvarez for West Ham, one of their transfer window signings, on to another, Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse now looks to find Antonio, but it's beyond him, and chested back by Doughty into the penalty area. Read that well this time, and it's back with Kaminski with 13 minutes played on Talksport, and it's Luton Town 0, West Ham United 0.
Yeah, much better play there from Doughty. Just got in behind his central defenders and just tied it up with a neat little chest back into his goalkeeper.
And you're listening to Luton against West Ham on Talksport with Now. And don't forget, with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action, including this game, live right now for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. Now Chong for Luton, up towards the edge of the penalty area. Low shot from him is blocked by a falling Zuma. Straight back to Chong, and now wide to this near side, the left. And Giles, he will try and take on Soufal. Good cross into the penalty area. Oh, it's been dropped by Areola, and he was fortunate Emerson was behind him to hook the ball away.
Yeah, fantastic ball in from Giles there. Just made the angle, whipped it in with his right foot, and Areola just got under it slightly.
Now Giles again, looking to hold off Antonio as he heads towards the byline. Double coverage in the end as Soufal comes across, but Ryan Giles, who had a number of very successful loan spells from Wolves, has come to Luton on a permanent basis, and he could give the real balance down this left-hand side.
Yeah, as I say, Luton, in their performance in these early stages, have turned around and said, if you're coming to Kenilworth Road, you're in for a tough game, no matter who you are.
Now Giles again. High ball into the penalty area. Doughty brings it down on the chest. He's found Barkley. Barkley on the turn. Left foot shot from him. Dragged across the face of goal. Not too far ahead of Adebayo, who was steaming in, but it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Barkley done well there. Once again, it was Barkley, the more advanced of the midfield players, just getting on the end of things in the box. And as he's half turned, Alvarez has gone to ground a little bit too cheaply for me. Moved it on again and just pulled his shot.
Very fine margins, but could Adebayo have been on the move a bit more there?
Yeah, potentially. I think well, listen, I don't think they're speed merchants, both of the centre forwards, but you've got to be predicting things, it's fair to say, as all good strikers do, Nige.
Now Bell all the way back towards Anderson, and he shimmies beyond Antonio but then gives the ball away. Played it in towards Chong, who was always going to be challenged by Alvarez, who loves that sort of situation. Now Ward-Prowse slides it back to the Moroccan international, Agurd. Alvarez again. And Alvarez has just slotted into that Declan Rice mould. And he will maybe add one or two more assists to his game. A bit more languid than Rice, but a very good technical footballer, the Mexican international. Soufal finding Ward-Prowse again. And here is Agurd.
I think even in these early stages, Nige, you can tell Luton that they'll hurt you if they possibly can, getting the ball in the box. They've got a good game plan, but they do look slightly vulnerable, even when they're all back in post and big numbers behind the ball, movement of players, little spins in behind are losing their markers.
And we've got two teams here who don't really like having the ball. West Ham have done very well with less than 30% possession so far this season, and Luton have had similar numbers in their 2 games away from home, although 2 very tough games. They were reflected in 2 3-goal defeats. 0-0 here with 16 minutes played. Let's check in on tonight's Super League action at Craven Park. Hull KR against the leaders Catalan Dragons and Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 13 gone here. It's Hull Kingston Rovers 4, Catalan 6. The Dragons in front early on. Romain Navarre powering over from close range, but Rovers have just scored a nice try after Catalan dropped the ball on their own line. Sean Kennedy scoring. Just awaiting Schneider to kick the goal, but it's Hull KR 4, Catalan 6.
Thanks, Mark. Still 0-0 here as Emerson comes forward for West Ham on the far side. Paquetá, good ball back towards Emerson, who rides one challenge. Now Bowen inside the penalty area, driven wide, and the left-footed cross in the end is deflected off Anderson behind for the game's first corner.
Yeah, once West Ham raised the tempo of their passing, little interaction, little gives and goes, and it caused absolute panic in the Luton backline.
Jarrod Bowen having an excellent start to the season, didn't score a single goal away from home in the Premier League last season, but he scored in his opening 2 games at Bournemouth and Brighton. Now Ward-Prowse with the corner into the near post, had it away by Adebayo. All the way back to the halfway line goes Benrahma, and in the end Emerson has to turn under pressure from Chong to 8 up the ground, and it's back to Areola, who's already had problems under one high cross lofted in from Giles, and I'm sure Rob Edwards will maybe look to feed off that. But West Ham coming forward again now. Antonio looks to shove off Burke and shoves him to the ground, and it will be a free kick to Luton Town. But it really does have the feel almost of an FA Cup tie, doesn't it? With the lower division team, which is not meant to be disrespectful to Luton, but they've got into the game with that sort of intensity.
Yeah, and probably the feel around the stadium as well with the fans is of that type of game as well. You know, there's a real generation of sort of excitement going around the place with everybody, from the staff certainly through to the fans.
18 minutes played, 0-0. And don't forget, on Monday, Rangers legend Ali McCoist is back on breakfast, and the former Chelsea, Aston Villa and Republic of Ireland midfield Andy Townsend will be alongside him. And if you fancy something different on your morning commute, you can check out the Chris Evans Breakfast Show weekdays from 6:30 on Virgin Radio on your DAB, or you can download the app or ask your smart speaker to play Virgin Radio. As Chong comes forward now, wide towards Morris for Luton, down this left-hand side. Giles on the overlap. Morris, though, may go himself into the penalty area. Now using Giles, but he's rather taken the momentum out of the breakaway. But the cross in from Giles is scraped away by Zuma. And now Ben Rama will try and play it forward for Antonio, but Bell steps in to hammer the ball high into the night sky again. Wide to the far side, and Adebayo. A couple of West Ham players were appealing for handball as Adebayo tries to play it down the line, but it took a deflection on the way out and goes behind for Luton's first corner with 19 minutes played.
Yeah, I've been quite impressed in these early stages with Chong. I think he's knitted things together pretty well for Luton. Good technician on the ball and good energy as well, good drive. And a great opportunity now to test West Ham's resolve at the back.
Corner kick, which Alfie Doughty will take. And you just feel that tonight and throughout the season, set pieces will be so important for Luton Town, as they were during their run to the Premier League in the previous campaign. Doughty will whip this ball in, plenty of height waiting for it. High towards the back post, Burke rising, it's off a West Ham head, and in the end it's brought clear by Ward-Prowse, and now West Ham can break. It's Ben Rama wide on the left hand side, the white shirts are streaking forward. Ben Rama holds on to the ball, maybe holds on to it too long. He was eventually fouled by Barkley, and West Ham have a free kick when they had the opportunity to head forward there with so much support. But now Antonio from the free kick drives across in from the right hand side, but Luton will clear at the near post, and Giles eventually plays it long into the West Ham half.
Well, West Ham just showed them why they are a fearful counter-attack side. The turnover cleared by Ward-Prowse, and then when Ben Rama sets out, just didn't have support with it.
You're listening to Game Day Countdown, live on Talksport from Kenilworth Road. 20 minutes played, Luton 0, West Ham 0, and after us, Jim White and Alex Crook will be with us for the transfer deadline show. All the latest headline moves and the stories from those in the know. You can also have your say as well. 03717 223344 is the number. And if there are any breaking deals during this game, Alex will bring them to us live from Talksport Towers as Luton get a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area. And you can follow the live blog as well on talksport.com.
Yeah, the crowd just giving Mickey Harford a massive ovation there. He's somebody that I've played against. He's been a brilliant servant to this football club, and I tried to employ him when I was Manchester City manager. I wanted him on my coaching staff for what he stands for and what a good coach he is.
Head of recruitment here also stepped in when Nathan Jones left first time around to guide Luton into the Championship, as Doughty comes forward now on the far side. Emerson does just enough, but it's another corner for Luton. And both these teams here are playing a fairly direct game. You think West Ham maybe have got more craft, but Luton here are looking to play to their strengths.
Yeah, they certainly are. They've got physical presence up front. They're prepared to chase things. And they know full well every time there's a set play, the excitement going around the terraces from the Luton fans.
22 minutes played. Luton corner, Doughty whips it high into the box again. Areola wasn't convincing at the near post. The ball skidded off his fist across the face of goal and behind for another corner. Maybe Zuma got a touch as well.
Well, I've got to say, I think Areola's been so unconvincing at this moment in time. He's not come for a couple of things I felt as though he should have been doing. And I think Luton have seen that and piling players in and around him now.
Luton corner down this near side, the left. And it's a very congested 6-yard area again, with those West Ham supporters all on their feet, packed in behind that goal. The corner, another in-swinger, high to the far post. It was nodded towards goal by Anderson, but he was off balance, off target.
Yeah, unlucky there. Good first contact in the 6-yard box, but he was just almost backpedaling, and he was under decent pressure as well, I think, from Antonio. Managed to do just enough.
23 minutes played, 0-0. Paquetá now for West Ham, who has had a very classy start to the season. Now Emerson into Antonio again, and back to Paquetá. He shows his strength to hold off Adebayo, not once but twice, and then tries to play in Benrahma down the left-hand side, but Luton will clear again. And it's high and early forward, looking for Adebayo, but Agurd is ideally equipped to deal with that sort of barrage. And now Soufal has it for West Ham, over the halfway line on this near side. Back to Zuma, and the pitch was only laid here fairly recently for the first game against Gillingham in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday, and there are one or two signs of wear and tear, and there is a rather dark tram line just in front of us, right across the pitch, and when players are going to ground at the moment, the divots are kicking up. Now Ward-Prowse back towards Zuma again, and there is space for Agurd to bring the ball forward. Luton happy to retreat into their formation, very deep at times, but Doughty steps in and hammers the ball forward again, and this could become a game of patience for West Ham.
Well, I think it will be for both teams. Luton have got to be patient in their defending, make sure they stay with runners, and from West Ham's point of view, they'll look to, I think they're quite enjoying a phase of possession in this game. They look more than comfortable in possession of the ball, moving it well, and just waiting for those little spaces between lines, if they possibly can, to get turned and feed someone through.
James Ward-Prowse, who scored his 50th Premier League goal at Brighton last week, plays it wide to the far side. A high ball now, looking for Bowen, able to bring the ball down on his chest. He fires in the volley, left-footed. It was a trademark Bowen attempt, but he dragged it wide.
This is that situation we talked about. West Ham have played two long raking balls that have nearly got people in. Benrahma, it got in earlier, and one was just overhit. On that occasion, that's travelled a long way, Nigel, and a defender should be touch tight on that.
Game day underway on Talksport tomorrow from 11 o'clock, live from Bramall Lane. Sheffield United against Everton, with Baker Others, Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton. Over on Talksport 2, Sunderland against Southampton, as Bowen comes forward again on this near side. His ball dinked inside, deflects back towards Bowen, high cross to the far post, but Kaminsky's there to claim well.
Yeah, a little turnover of possession there, and Bowen coming in on that left foot. I think quite good defending there by Bell, denying him that left foot to open the goal up.
Game day live with Adrian Durham, Trevor Sinclair and Mick McCarthy tomorrow. All the goals as they go in, including a full classified check at 5 o'clock. Over on Talksport 2, it is Chelsea against Nottingham Forest with Ian Danta and Perry Groves. And of course, we then have the international break, and we will have commentary on all of the home nations coming up, including England's game against Ukraine in the qualifiers and the friendly match against Scotland. As West Ham have to do some defending again, and the two defenders, Zuma and Agurd, are having to turn a good deal at the moment in the wide areas because they're under pressure from balls being played forward, and both Morris and Adebayo are onto them very quickly, as Morris now heads a long throw into the penalty area, but it bobbles through towards Areola.
I think Morris is just making the point that you made earlier to Adebayo. Any chance of a bit of movement, you know? I think both managers will be quite happy, though, Nige, to be fair. West Ham have had a decent amount of the ball, certainly for an away trip, and Luton have had a lot of final third entries, certainly a few corners being racked up now.
Former West Ham left-back and coach Stuart Pearce with us here, live at Kenilworth Road, on Talksport. 27 minutes played, 0-0. West Ham also learnt their Europa League group opponents today. They were the top seeds. They'll be alongside Olympiacos, Freiburg and the Serbian club TSC in the group stage, which looks eminently winnable for West Ham, as Emerson comes forward now, cuts it back into the penalty area for Benrahma. A burst of pace from him, but he was cut off inside the 6-yard box by Nakamba, and it will be a corner kick.
when West Ham start building up and dropping Alvarez in as one of three on the build-up and enabling Kufel to push up right on the advanced line, all of a sudden players are 1-for-1 and one or two spaces start to occur in that Luton back line.
James Ward-Prowse with the corner. His delivery is an in-swinger high to the far post, but rising well to nod clear as the captain, Morris, and then the volley from Ben Rama from the edge of the penalty area is about 15 yards wide.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to Old Trafford for the latest in the T20 International, and here's Talksport's John Norman.
Well, England looking very good to go 2-0 up in this 4-match series. Fireworks earlier today, 67 from Brook and 86 not out from Bairstow, and England has struck 4 times already inside the first 9 overs and could well be a 5th. Yeah, I think that's going to be a 5th wicket. Darren Mitchell caught behind without scoring. New Zealand chasing 199, 74 for 5.
John, West Ham coming forward now with Alvarez. The ball into the area behind both Bowen and Antonio, and it's back towards Kaminsky. 29 minutes played, 0-0, and as Stuart Pearce was saying, both managers may be relatively happy. Luton have kept a clean sheet so far and offered a threat, and West Ham do look to have the weapons on the counter-attack. There's Kaminsky, clears long downfield again. Zuma heading away unchallenged, flicked on by Paquetá. Ross Barkley challenging him, one of the summer signings arriving from Nice, but of course a player with huge Premier League experience. Now Morris on towards Barkley on the edge of the penalty area. It's wide towards Chong. Barkley went down, rather Morris went down, and he was fouled, but the referee Paul Tierney tried to allow the advantage, and now West Ham will come forward with Ben Rama. Good pace from him down the left, wide towards Antonio. Only Bowen inside the penalty area, now joined by Ben Rama for West Ham. Antonio back to Alvarez with those coat hanger shoulders, always playing in a very upright style. Wide to Soufal on this near side. Now Bowen back to Ward-Prowse. There's that familiar scurry we see crossfield from him that we saw so many times in a Southampton shirt. Now Bowen fighting Soufal, the driven cross into the area, helped away by Anderson, and Ben Rama seemed to lead with his arm there as he challenged on the edge of the box with Barkley, and a free kick's been given to Luton.
Yeah, certainly Ben Rama's arm seemed to be up for leverage, but the referee's not seen any more than just a free kick.
And Ben Rama with an interesting position at the moment with West Ham, of course, starting tonight with Thomas Souček not involved, but players ahead of him have made such a good start to the season that he may have to be patient to be a regular starter.
Well, I think the way Moyes buffered the squad out slightly, there's going to be a lot of good competition for places. You've got the likes of Ings on the bench and one or two others.
I know West Ham won the Conference League last season, but the squad as a whole looks better equipped for European football this season than in previous years, as West Ham have a player down, Kurt Zuma, midway inside their own half.
Yeah, it certainly looks a much better squad this year than years gone by, I think, and obviously with the omission of Declan.
Currently Luton 0, West Ham 0. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes. You can back Luton to win at 3-1, West Ham to win at evens, or back the draw at 21-10. All thanks to Ladbrokes, and you can play at ladbrokes.com. And we've got a shot on our monitor just behind us of Mick Hartford and David Pleat, who of course was the manager who first took Luton into the top flight, and he was also in charge when they played their final game at this level back in 1992. Good to have a chat with him before the game. So much knowledge from somebody who has been around football for so long. Now Soufal, good ball inside the full-back for Bowen, now into the penalty area down the right, low ball across the face of goal. Doughty plays the ball clear only as far as Soufal, who tries to return it back towards Bowen, who was retreating from an offside position, so as a result the ball goes beyond him and out for a goal kick.
There's been about 3 or 4 warning signs now for the Luton back line. Once again, a player just spinning off the back of a wing back and getting him behind, and when you've got 5 players in the line, that really shouldn't be happening, Nigel.
Don't forget, Rolling transfer coverage over on Talksport 2 at the moment with Adrian Durham and Alex Crook, and Alex and Jim White will take you through the night on Talksport beyond the transfer deadline at 11 o'clock with all the news of all the deals. You can have your say as well, 03717 223344, and we'll also aim to bring you live reaction from the tunnel here at Kenilworth Road, and you can follow our dedicated blog with live news of all the deals as they happen at talksport.com. 33 minutes played, 0-0. David Moyes, of course, does have Mohamed Kudus to turn to at some stage, and unlike many players signed at the end of the transfer window, he will need very little integrating because he's been banging form for Ajax. 4 goals already this season, including a hat-trick in the Europa League qualifiers. As West Ham look to build again, but Anderson cuts off the run of Ben Rama into the penalty area and hammers it high into the bobbers stand on the far side. And the noise continues to rumble down from the Kenilworth Road end away to our right as Morris looks to chase a long ball forward, but it's headed away by Agurd. And now Alvarez. And there's no doubt that West Ham are playing the more controlled football here when they have the ball in opposition territory. Ward-Prowse finding Bowen, looking to become the first West Ham player to score in 3 successive away games in the top flight since 1930. Now Ward-Prowse again, finding Agurd. And Emerson has got plenty of room down the left-hand side should he wish to bring the ball forward. And here is Alvarez, who was always available to pick up the ball from the central defenders. So as a result, both Soufal and Emerson can push into more advanced areas as Bowen now plays it down the line for Ward-Prowse, just in front of us down the right-hand side. Back to Soufal again. Now Ward-Prowse coming in field, and at times Luton are rather having to chase shadows as Chong sprints across to cut off first Ward-Prowse and then Bowen, but it's back towards Bowen on the edge of the penalty area, and here is Paquetá. He's found Bowen in space now on the left, a back heel in field, doesn't quite fall to Paquetá, but the second ball does. It's cleared away and it's fired in by Alvarez, blocked by a lunging Mads Anderson, and then the curler from Ben Rama was nowhere near the goal.
Well, I've got to say that was a magnificent block by 2 Luton players going to ground. I think, as you rightly said, it was Anderson who got the block, but Chong was alongside him going to ground, doing everything they possibly could to get a block on that. And probably West Ham's best effort on goal.
Goal kick for Luton with 9 minutes to play in the first half here on Talksport, and we'll be back with Alex Crook with news of all of the major transfer deals still incoming this evening during half-time. Brennan Johnson moving from Nottingham Forest to Spurs is one of the big ones which should be concluded before the end of the evening as West Ham come forward again, and you just wonder who is doing the deals for West Ham and Luton, should there be any this evening. Of course, Sambi Lokonga is sat just to our right, the Arsenal midfielder on loan here at Luton. Now Paquetá with a high ball into the penalty area. Bowen looking to rise for the header, and Bowen has done it. And Jarrod Bowen scores the first Premier League goal at Kenilworth Road, and he makes some history. The first West Ham player to score in 3 successive away games at the start of a season since 1930. And Kenilworth Road momentarily was silenced. It is Luton Town 0, West Ham United 1.
Well, it was that ball in the box, the diagonal one. We said that players are losing their runners a little bit, and it was a ball knocked in. Someone's lost Bowen at the far post there. I think it's probably Giles, potentially, the wing-back. Just got inside him, and goalkeeper, no chance at that distance, helped it in off his legs.
I have to say, we had no idea what happened there first time around because it was right behind the pillar, but could Kaminski have done better?
Well, certainly, I'm looking at Giles, who's outside the play. You've got to be inside your striker there, especially with someone like Bowen, who is probably West Ham's biggest threat in front of goal. And the goalkeeper just rooted to his line, wasn't he?
Well, Jarrod Bowen is on fire at the start of the season, and he's scoring all types of goals at the moment. Far post header there, and he once won here by 3-0, playing for Hull City in the Championship. So he is one of the West Ham players with experience of Kenilworth Road previously, and he scored the opening goal here tonight 7 minutes before half time. Now Giles back towards Bell. Can Luton respond before half time? Barkley, challenged though by Paquetá, but it breaks for Morris, and here is Adebayo. Oh, that was a chance. Right-footed, lofted too high with a clear sight of goal.
Yeah, not an easy chance. He's done really well with his first touch, I've got to say, but he was almost pirouetting and leaning backwards as he took the second touch, which shot it over and just above the West Ham fans into the roof of the stand.
West Ham with already 4 points away from home this season, after only 9 in their last 17 games on the road last season. And you could say, OK, Bournemouth and possibly Luton tonight could be games they should be winning, but going to Brighton and winning by 3-1 is a statement win, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is, and the one thing it's done now, Luton have got to do what they haven't done already this season, score in the Premier League to at least get a draw out of the game.
Now Bell. And as we were saying before kick-off, home form will be so important for them. And the lion's share of their points this season, you feel, will come here at Kenilworth Road. Barkley with an excellent ball wide to the far side, and Doughty, he can break into the penalty area down the right, but he's held up by Emerson, and it will be a throw-in to Luton with just over 5 minutes to play in the first half, and West Ham leading by 1-0.
I must say, their play in possession, Luton, hasn't been too bad, and they put the ball in the box into dangerous areas. That's been good. The other side of that is their stand with runners and losing people has been very, very poor.
But that's the difference between the Championship and the Premier League, and you need to learn those lessons very quickly.
Yeah, I think even by Championship standards they'll be disappointed. Well, certainly they would have been with a goal.
Now Giles on this near side delivers the cross into the near post. Morris with a looping header onto the roof of the netting, but that's what they want to see from Carlton Morris. Good delivery in from Giles. Morris lost his marker, but just couldn't keep the header down. Yeah,
super play just then. And if you look at the amount, we're looking at the replay now, the amount of Luton players in the penalty area. They got 4 players in there waiting for that ball in. It was Morris. Really good cross, and unfortunate with his header.
Cleared downfield by Areola, looking for Antonio. He's challenged by Anderson. Now Ben Rama again, who rides the challenge of Dougherty, and he breaks for Emerson down the left. He shuttles balls infield between himself and Paquetá, but now gives the ball away. Nakamba over the top. Morris is off and running down the right-hand side, and he's gone beyond a gird into the penalty area. Appeals for handball against Paquetá, as the ball did seem to hit him on the thigh by the corner flag on the far side, and in the end West Ham do have a throw. And as we go back to Old Trafford in the cricket, and John Norman.
For 6, New Zealand looks all over now for the Kiwis. The final wicket, a third wicket going the way of a Surrey player. Mitchell Santner deceived, all ends up by the off-spinner of Will Jacks. Atkinson and Curran with 2 successes. Earlier on, Brooke at 67, Bairstow 86. England posted 198 for 4. New Zealand aren't going to come close. 91 for 6.
So England heading into a 2-0 lead in the series as we go back to Craven Park in Super League, and Mark Wilson.
Catalans 14. It was all level last time you were with us. Adam Kieran kicked over a simple penalty to put the Dragons in front, and then Ben Garcia crashed over from close range. Tight game though this one. OKR 6, Catalans 14.
Cheers Mark. 3 minutes to play in the first half here as Chong leaps into a challenge with Paquetá, comes away with the ball but only briefly. But here is Nakamba, the Zimbabwean international, signed from Aston Villa, following a loan spell, wide towards Giles, and now Nakamba again. Barkley's got space, and you feel he needs to be the sort of player to provide that craft for Luton from midfield. Taken down well by Adebayo on the edge of the penalty area, wild to Giles, and now Chong with a low ball driven into the 6-yard box. Morris was lurking, and Agurd has to hammer the ball onto the corrugated iron roof behind that goal.
Yeah, I think the midfield trio of Luton's not bad in possession. As I say, Chong's impressed me in these early stages. His movement, his energy, comfortable on the ball. And Barkley obviously got Premier League pedigree. And Mukamba behind them.
Corner kick for Luton on this near side, inside the final 2 minutes of the first half. The Hammers leading by a goal to nil. The corner high into the 6-yard box. It's nodded down. Chong is there. A couple of yards out. He was closed down by Soufal, and he's unable to nudge the ball in at the far post. But Luton there with a mastery of the skies inside the West Ham penalty area, and they nearly forced the equaliser.
Really unfortunate there. Once again, first contact, and as it bounced, it almost bounced up at the midriff of Chong at the far post, and he just couldn't guide it into the goal.
Luton have games coming up, away to Fulham, at home to Wolves, and away to Everton either side of the international break, so they may view those as opportunities to pick up points. Soufal swings a high ball forward again, headed away as far as Ward-Prowse, and then Anderson, who's probably the tallest player on the pitch, with a towering header forward for Luton, but it will quickly come back. And now Paquetá finding Benrahma wide to Emerson, and at times there has been, if not a golfing quality, certainly a gap, as West Ham have moved the ball around with real authority as we enter the final 30 seconds of normal time in the first half here. Now Antonio spins away from Giles, and now a Gerd, and the Luton crowd are sticking with their team, of course, as they have to, as West Ham have given the ball away. There were one or two fancy flicks too many there, as Luton come forward now with Adebayo, challenged from behind by Zuma. Zuma claims he got the ball. Paul Tierney disagrees, and it's a free kick.
Well, David Moyes livid there with the interaction between Emerson and Benrahma. Too cheap on the ball when you consider we're just rolling into the 45th minute at present.
A minimum of 2 added minutes, which will start with a Luton Town free kick midway inside the West Ham half, just right of centre. Doughty and Barkley are over it. Ross Barkley, now 29 years of age, of course, burst on the scene as a teenager with Everton before moving on to Chelsea. And it's Barkley, hammers it high to the far post. Morris is rising, but so too is Zuma. The ball bounces on the edge of the 6-yard area. 2 West Ham players eventually get the ball partially away, but here is Burke who turns. He finds Chong wide to this left-hand side of Morris. The crossing, though, is met by a stooping header from Zuma. Maybe Giles on the outside was the better ball. Now Morris drives in a low ball from the left-hand side, which is eventually cleared away by Zuma. But Luton here looking for a head of steam as we head towards half-time. Nakamba hangs it up high to the far post. Anderson was still forward, but he loses out to Emerson, and now Paquetá can bring it forward. And here is Benrahma for West Ham down the left-hand side. Burke has been isolated. Benrahma with the step overs heads to the byline. Burke, though, sticks with him, makes the challenge, and West Ham have a corner.
I've got to say, super defended by Reece Burke there. He's defending Benrahma one-on-one into the box. He's rocking and rolling him. He stood up, stood his ground, and made a fantastic challenge. Well done, Reece Burke.
Corner kick, which Ward-Prowse will take. And Luton have got to ensure they only go in a single goal down here. Ward-Prowse with the delivery into the 6-yard area. Morris rising to head the ball away. Drops to Benrahma, who lobs it back out to the corner kick taker, Ward-Prowse. Square to Benrahma again. Dinks it high to the far post. Bowen rising, nods it back infield. The flag's up for offside, and Luton Town will have a free kick, and that is that. The half-time whistle goes, and the home crowd rise to acclaim their team, but they're a goal down. A far post header from Jarrod Bowen 7 minutes before the break, helped in by the Luton goalkeeper Thomas Kaminski. Luton have had their moments, but West Ham have looked the more accomplished side, and at half-time it is Luton Town 0, West Ham United 1.
And it's a very warm reception, despite the fact that Luton Town are losing, because we've witnessed a real meat and potatoes English football match this evening. Luton, their fans have cheered every throw, tackle and corner, as if it would have been the final whistle in a European Cup final, and you can hear them right now. It's half-time, their team are losing, but they're right behind them, just over 10,000 inside Kenilworth Road. But at times, it felt like the Maracanã, maybe the Azteca Stadium as well. It wasn't enough to keep West Ham from scoring. Jared Bowen continuing his good goal-scoring form with his third of the season. In fact, the last player to score in the club's first 3 top-flight away games in one season is West Ham's all-time scorer, Vic Watson, who did it back in 1930. So a bit of history there for Jared Bowen tonight. Stuart Pearce alongside me here at Kenilworth Road. He headed it in, but he headed it straight at the goalkeeper, Kaminski. He won't be happy, nor will the Luton left-back, Giles.
No, you're right. As I say, very, very disappointing. I think probably Giles was the biggest culprit. Just let Bowen get inside him, and from, I would say, semi-point blank range almost, the goalkeeper may have done slightly better, was rooted to his line. But listen, West Ham will be delighted to go in 1-0 up. They've had a couple of scary moments in this game, and I think Ariola's got to be a bit more aggressive. He's rooted to his line at present, isn't he? And letting his defenders do all the work for him.
Yeah, Areola not impressive under those crosses, and maybe that's an area that Luton will look to exploit. I've got to say, I was impressed by the way Luton Town reacted to that goal. Heads didn't go down. Adebayo, Morris chances almost immediately in response. Neither could hit the target. The ball just wouldn't fall for Chong at the back post, but you've got to say the response has been positive.
It certainly has. As I say, I think Chong's certainly caught my eye these first 45 minutes. I think he's comfortable on the ball when he gets in and around, knits things together for him. And you've got to say Morris is the one getting on the end of things in both boxes. He's defending his box really well from these Ward-Prowse corners, but certainly if anyone's going to get on the end of anything, it's going to be Morris.
Yeah, just lacked, I think, not just Morris, but maybe the Luton side in the final third, that extra bit of quality. That being said, going forward, West Ham United, in terms of their chance creation, apart from Bowen's goal, we haven't seen any clear-cut chances near the goal. Either is that from Luton doing something really well, or West Ham maybe not doing something so well?
Well, I think West Ham are comfortable knocking the ball around, and they look quite neat in their build-up play in and around the halfway line. But where I think they've caught Luton out a little bit is that little go to the ball and spinning behind movements that have caught them out 3 or 4 times, and that's what they've got to do. Whilst you get a lot of possession, that's fine, but you've still got to stretch the opposition in behind and have that threat.
We're just seeing Jacob Brown out. Looks like he's going to start a warm-up for Luton. Maybe, I think he was on the periphery, wasn't he, Adebayo, the forward for Luton Town. Maybe that will be a straight swap. He had a great chance and maybe should have scored against Chelsea. Added something off the bench. Maybe he can do so again here tonight.
Well, I've been a little bit disappointed with Adebayo. I don't think he's really caught the eye in this first half, whether they think that's going to be the change or not. But as you rightly say, he's the only sub out warming up for Luton.
Plenty still left in this game. Stuart Pearce, thank you very much. We'll be back here for a second half at Kenilworth Road, their first ever Premier League match here. But Luton Town trail West Ham by 1-0 at half-time, thanks to Jared Bowen's goal. Also half-time in the Rugby League this evening. Mark Wilson.
12 Catalan Dragons, 14 the league leaders in front inside 5 minutes. Romain Navarre barged his way over to give the Dragons a 6-point lead, but Sean Kenny-Dowell capitalised on some sloppy ball control from the Dragons to score and level up 6-6 inside 12 minutes. But then the Dragons seemingly took control. First a penalty from Kieran right in front, opened it up 8-6, and then Garcia crashed over after Rovers dropped the ball 10 off their own line. At 14-6, looked like the Dragons would have a healthy lead at the break, but Kane Lynette touched down Schneider's grubber kick right on half-time. Schneider added the extras as well, so it's game on here as well. Hunkinson Rovers 12, Catalans 14.
Thank you very much, Mark. Let's head to the northwest of England. Old Trafford hosting the second T20 between England and New Zealand. It's all over. John Norman.
Well, there are one-sided wins and there are one-sided wins. And England have just doled out one hell of a thumping over New Zealand. And there's going to be a real question about who's going to be player of the match. England winning this game, comfortably so, thanks with their batting. From Johnny Bairstow, who batted throughout the 20 overs, ending up with 86 not out. But he was overshadowed, believe it or not, by Harry Brook, fellow Yorkshireman, who smashed the ball to all parts 67 from just 36 balls, 5 fours and 5 sixes. The crowd as one getting to their feet when he walked off the field. A quite brilliant and brutal innings. None of the New Zealand bowlers were spared. When New Zealand came out to bat, well, it looked a far more difficult proposition batting. They lost Conway and Allen quickly. There was a maiden international wicket for the debutant Gus Atkinson, and it was Atkinson who came back towards the back end of the innings, with New Zealand already on the ropes to take 3 wickets in his final over. So how's that for an introduction to international cricket? 2.5 overs bowled, 4 for 20 for Gus Atkinson. So just a question about who gets player of the match, him or Johnny Bairstow. Either way, the match is done and dusted. England go 2-0 up with 2 to play. They've beaten New Zealand by 95 runs.
Cricket update on Talksport with Thatcher's Gold Cider. Perfection in every drop. Please drink responsibly.
Should have told you 2 other matches in Super League at half-time as well. Lee 16 points to 6 up against Huddersfield, and Wigan lead Salford by 20 points to 4. Okay, let's get an update, the odds update at half-time, thanks to Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
So it's currently Luton Town 0, West Ham 1 here at Kenilworth Road. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes. Right now you can get Luton at 10 to 1 to win the match, the draw at 18 to 5, West Ham to go on to win at 1 to 3 on. The next goal scorer, Carlton Morris at 6 to 1, Jared Bowen to add a second, 6 to 1 as well, and Lucas Paqueta 7 to 1 for West Ham. And there's a special, a penalty to be scored at any time. It was 5 to 2, it is now 3 to 1. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Remember, it is a big evening, football fans. The transfer deadline will close at 11 p.m. Just a couple of hours to go. Let's get an update with Crown Trade.
Transfer deadline day on Talksport with Crown Trade. Delivering a perfect finish. Crown Trade.
Delighted to say our football correspondent Alex Crook joins me. Alex, what is the latest? Where are the moves happening?
2 hours to go until the transfer window slams shut, because of course we all know on deadline day it never just closes. Still waiting confirmation on a few of the deals that we've been discussing throughout the day. Ryan Gravenberch and his move from Bayern Munich to Liverpool on a 5-year contract. I'm told that one should happen before the 11 o'clock deadline. Sofian Amrabat has been undergoing a medical in Italy. I'm told he is on track to join Manchester United on a loan deal. Initially could be worth £30 million in total to Fiorentina if that becomes a permanent transfer next summer. Conor Gallagher, as we mentioned earlier, he stays at Chelsea despite some interest from Spurs. Luis Sinisterra on his way potentially from Leeds to Bournemouth. That would be a loan deal again, initially with the option of a permanent £25 million deal next summer. And Manchester City, João Cancelo heading out to Barcelona, told that loan deal very close to being completed as well. So still plenty going on. The big question, though, in the next 2 hours, does Saudi Arabia bid again for Mo Salah?
We'll be keeping a close eye on it. Alex Crook, thank you very much. Alex, live right now over on Talksport 2 with Adrian Durham, calling all the moves as they come in, and he will be back at 10 p.m. alongside Jim White. But you can watch that programme right now on Talksport 2. Also on YouTube, you'll be able to watch Jim White and Alex Crook from 10 p.m. as well. All the latest. That was a transfer deadline day update with Crown Trade, delivering a great result with Crown Trade.
Transfer deadline day on Talksport with Crown Trade. There's no better paint than Crown Trade.
Remember, there's a big fight coming up on Talksport this weekend. Saturday night, exclusive commentary of Liam Smith against Chris Eubank Jr. The rematch live from Manchester Arena. Of course, Adam Cattrall, Gareth A. Davis, commentator John Rawling and former super bantamweight champion Spencer Oliver will make up our expert team. Live, exclusive, free to listen to over on Talksport 2 from 7 p.m. and then over on Talksport from 9 p.m. So plenty to come across the Talksport network this weekend. All beginning here with live Premier League football at Kenilworth Road. At the break, it is Luton Town 0, West Ham 1, thanks to Jared Bowen's opener. It's been tight, it's been tense. Big 45 minutes on the way next.
Game Day Countdown live on Talksport with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Luton versus West Ham live tonight for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Friend, bag yourself some Sainsbury's, One Stop, Asda, Co-op, Iceland on Just Eat. For your hostess with the mostest self, barbecue chef self. I can't believe I forgot that self. Help yourselves to some alfresco brunchy bits, summer salad stuffs, snackety snacks. Get your groceries delivered pronto quick shop now. Delivered for free. Groceries, we got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Participating stores only, subject to availability and store opening times, minimum spend applies. Service charges and other charges apply. See justeat.co.uk for more details.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in 60 minutes or less. So, whatever the job, you can do it with less disruption and more action. Less time on the road and more time on the job. So don't break your stride. Screwfix Sprint. Order now exclusively on a Screwfix app. £5 delivery charge, no minimum spend. Don't stop. Sprint. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
In sport, what's just as important as the goals, the glory, the roar of the crowd? Yes, it's the half-time break. Time for a breather, a reset, to keep everything on track. In sports betting, Betfair's safer gambling tools help you do that too. Like timeouts, so you take that all-important half-time break. Or deposit limits, to help you keep count. Manage your play at safergambling.betfair.com. Simple ways to stay on top of your game with Betfair.
18 plus begambleaware.org. We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Football's back, and so is the ultimate coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals! With the best writers pitch side for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday in the Sun.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, online, on your mobile and on your smart speaker. Talksport.
Luton Town have earned their place in the Premier League, and for those who kept the faith on those dark, gloomy trips back from Alfreton and Southport, tonight really is for them. Doughty brings it down on the chest. He's found Barkley. Barkley on the turn. Left foot shot from him, dragged across the face of goal. Not too far ahead of Adebayo, who was steaming in, but it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Barkley done well there.
And it's fired in by Alvarez, blocked by a lunging Mads Anderson, and then the curler from Benrahma was nowhere near the goal. But a high ball into the penalty area. Bowen looking to rise for the header, and Bowen has done it. Jarrod Bowen scores the first Premier League goal at Kenilworth Road. It is Luton Town 0, West Ham United 1. Can Luton respond before half-time? Barkley, challenged though by Paquetá, but it breaks for Morris, and here is Adebayo. Oh, that was a chance. Right-footed, lofted too high with a clear sight of goal. Luton have had their moments, but West Ham have looked the more accomplished side, and at half-time it is Luton Town 0, West Ham United 1.
It's live and exclusive Premier League commentary on Talksport this evening. As you just heard there, it is Jarrod Bowen whose goal is the difference here tonight. He may not have been picked in the England squad, but he's certainly sending a message with his third goal in 3 away games for West Ham United. They're in prime position to go on and win this match and put themselves at the top of the Premier League table. I'm alongside the former West Ham defender Stuart Pearce, and Stuart, just looking ahead to the next 45 minutes as the Luton players make their way back out onto the pitch here. How do they stay in the game? Because they stayed in the game for a long time against Chelsea away from home, but actually they were killed by a couple of moments where they just switched off and the game was completely gone from them. Can they learn from that here tonight, and how do they stop it?
Well, personally, I think they've switched off a couple of times defensively today, and one of those was for the Bowen goal. So it's not as clear-cut as turning the switch on. If you don't see things happening, and things happen a lot quicker in this division than certainly they do in the lower divisions. But they're well in the game. They've had enough entries. They've not been penned back. West Ham have, as we spoke about, have not had a host of chances, and what they've got to do is probably make sure that when the ball does come in the final third, they're on the move and anticipating where the second ball's going to drop.
A little bit of possession for Luton. If they're chasing the ball a lot. They looked pretty fatigued just before they conceded the goal as well. I think a bit of adrenaline came in with the home crowd behind them after it. If they can keep the ball just a little bit better in this half, maybe they can work their way into the game and fashion a couple of more chances. Still all to play for.
It's definitely all to play for, and probably their best options have come from their wing backs. I think their wing backs, and I mentioned Giles on that, has delivered some really telling balls into the box, and that might be the key going forward. Through Chong as the conduit and feeding the wing backs.
Fortini about to get us back underway for the second half, live and exclusive here on Talksport. Luton Town 0, West Ham 1, with the former West Ham defender Stuart Pearce and Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Hugh. West Ham get the second half underway, wearing all white, attacking the Oak Road end away to our left-hand side, which has their supporters behind that goal in the second half. 67% possession for West Ham in the first half, which is way beyond the average they've had in the early weeks of the season. But Luton had more shots, but the only one on target was the goal headed in by Jared Bowen 7 minutes before half-time. And West Ham have a throw-in here. Soufal into the near post, nodded away though, back in by Alvarez, and then there to clear a second time up towards the edge of the box is Bell. Bell gets a third header away, and now Antonio, who challenged him, is flagged offside, and it will be a free kick here for Luton Town, trailing by a 0-0 in their first Premier League home game, their first home game in the top flight since 1992. Of course, they had 10 years at this level under David Pleat and Ray Harford back in the 1980s and early 90s. Their team is Kaminsky in goal, Burke, Anderson and Bell, Doughty and Giles in the wide areas, Chong, Nakamba and Barkley in midfield, Morris and Adebayo in attack. West Ham, Areola in goal, Soufal, Zuma, Agerd and Emerson, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse and Paqueta in midfield, with Benrahma and Bowen either side of Antonio. Luton in all orange with black shorts, West Ham wearing all white, and it's the home side who have a free kick just in front of us here, and it's the former West Ham academy player Reece Burke who will take it back to Thomas Kaminsky, who was culpable for the goal scored by Jared Bowen just before half-time. But do you feel Luton overall showed enough, Stuart, to suggest they could get something from this game?
Yeah, without a doubt. What they've got to do is make sure that the corners they've got, I mean, I think Areola's been pinged on his line, so leaving it to the defenders to defend. They've got first contact on most things that have come in the box. Is that second contact, anticipating where the next ball might drop.
Well, Paqueta is down on this near side, and Paul Tierney, I don't think saw it, and we're having a look at a replay now, and he did seem to be caught late there.
To be honest with you, he's hooked the ball on up the line, Paqueta, and I'm not sure there was any real aggression from the Luton player. Definite foul, but no more.
Well, it's a free kick. It was marvellous Nakamba who made the challenge. And Agerd plays it short to Edson Alvarez, a player who was involved in the Champions League last season with Ajax. Of course, he'll be in the Europa League with West Ham this season following their success in the Conference League. And of course, the draws for the Europa League and the Conference League took place earlier on today. Talksport.com will tell you how your team got on as Antonio goes down on this near side looking for a free kick, but in fact as he went down he handled the ball, and it's a free kick to Luton as it's played all the way back to Kaminsky with 3.5 minutes played in the second half.
I think Antonio, I don't think there's a stat for this in the Premier League, he is the most unfouled centre forward there is. You know, the times there's little nudges, and because people think, I think the referees think he's so strong he shouldn't have gone down for that, and that was a point in case.
Now Alvarez wide towards the far side, and Soufal He was looking for Ward-Prowse, but Luton quickly cut it out, but then give it away. Soufal with a high ball forward. Antonio chasing again, and this time he outmuscles Amari Bell, and he's found Bowen inside the penalty area. Bowen, though, challenged by a retreating Anderson, but West Ham still have possession on the far side, the right, with Soufal. Down the line for Antonio. Antonio comes in field. Paquetá slid in towards Bowen. Looks to turn away from Bell inside the penalty area, but Amari Bell remained tight. Got the final touch, and West Ham do have a corner.
Well, if you're going to get tight on anyone, it's going to be Bowen, certainly, because he is the one who's got an eye for a goal. He's been brilliant in pre-season and certainly carried that on into the start of this season.
Corner kick on the far side, which Ward-Prowse is shaping to take, and it's an outswinger from him into the 6-yard area. Zuma was coming in like a train, but it was headed away at the near post by Giles, and now it's back towards Emerson. Alvarez takes over just in front of us. Now Paquetá. It's very unusual to see Premier League action so close up. Benrahma with the ball into the penalty area. Antonio, and it's left, and it's driven in brilliantly by Emerson, but it won't count because the flag's up.
Yeah, I don't think Antonio's seen the flag at this moment. All the rest of the West Ham players are still celebrating.
Of course, it will be checked. John Brooks is on duty at Stockley Park.
Antonio lazy getting back. We're just looking at this at the moment.
Is he offside, or is the Luton player around the penalty spot playing him on?
I'm going to stick my neck out here and say Antonio's right foot was dangling just behind the line, as I've seen it, but it's very tight, as you rightly say, Nige.
Well, they are checking it. Kaminski is already shaped up to take the free kick. The teams have retreated towards the halfway line, and the goal has been disallowed, but it was a tighter call than it initially appeared.
Yeah, Antonio should have got himself back onside. It was only the matter of probably a foot.
Now the ball strikes Paul Tierney, but West Ham maintain possession. They had the ball, so play continues. Now Soufal into Alvarez and back to Ward-Prowse on the halfway line, into the feet of Bowen. Good football from West Ham, and then there's a late challenge there by Nakamba on Alvarez. Both players have gone down, and I'm not sure what Paul Tierney has given here.
I just think it was a strong 50-50 challenge. Alvarez has played a couple of neat 1-2s, and as he's turned out of a problem, he didn't have the presence of mind to know what was coming in his direction, and that looked painful.
Yeah.
Basically shin on shin, both players, I think.
Nakamba got there first, he won the ball, and then there was the contact.
It's good to see both players getting up from that.
7 minutes played in the second half on Talksport. Luton 0, West Ham 1. Don't forget talksport.com for our live transfer blog throughout the evening on deadline day. Jim White and Alex Crook will have all the deals coming up when we go off the air at 10 o'clock. As Doughty comes forward now for Luton, fires in the shot which pins off a West Ham head and loops high over the top for a corner.
Well, we spoke in the first half about the importance of Morris getting that first contact on long balls up, and what it does, he done exactly that then, got in front of our guard, got the flick on, and from that an effort comes at goal.
Luton corner.
So I'm led to believe, because I can't see past the pylon.
Rumours have it. Now Doughty with the corner into the near post. Zuma again rising to head the ball away. Barkley, midway inside the West Ham half, has his pocket picked by Benrahma, but in the end Luton have numbers back, and it's all the way back to Kaminski, wearing all green, defending the Luton goal away to our left-hand side. 53 minutes played on Talksport. Luton 0, West Ham 1. Emerson forward looking for Bowen, but it's headed away by Amari Bell, and now Adebayo lost out to Alvarez, but it will be a throw into Luton on this near side, and they are going toe-to-toe for West Ham in the second half, but they still trail by a goal to nil.
Yeah, you would think in David Moyes' position at the moment, he would be more than happy to get a second goal and make sure it becomes a possession game for West Ham.
But now they've given the ball away, Luton. Here is Ward-Prowse into the penalty area, squares it back for Benrahma. Oh, and it's cleared off the line in the end, I think. Reece Burke was back there. It was blocked by the legs of Kaminsky as well, and West Ham so close to a second goal. Now Adebayo at the other end, looking to bring it forward for Luton, all on his own on this near side, and eventually he runs it out of play, but West Ham will believe they should have made it 2-0.
Well, I think it was really loose at the back there from Bell, and then it was a 3v2 overload going into the box. Ward-Prowse has pulled one back, and personally I don't think Benrahma showed enough conviction to get on the end of that. He's tried to just lift it over the recovering defender and managed to get his pocket picked.
Now Ward-Prowse has been hauled down by Chong, and it will be a free kick for West Ham. 10 minutes into the second half. Don't forget, on breakfast on Monday, the Rangers legend Ali McCoist is back alongside Andy Townsend. And if you fancy something different on your commute, Chris Evans will be on Virgin Radio from 6:30 a.m. You can listen to Virgin Radio on DAB Radio or download the app. And if you want the ongoing coverage of Deadline Day, currently head to Talksport 2 with Adrian Durham and Alex Crook. And if you download the app, you can swipe between this commentary and that show. 10 minutes into the second half here. West Ham leading by a 1-0, but it's never been entirely straightforward for them so far in this game.
Well, certainly not. Luton have certainly given a decent account of themselves this evening, and just need something to fall to somebody in the box. More likely that man Morris.
And 20 goals from him last season, having been relegated with Barnsley the year before. Alvarez hooks the ball across his own penalty area. It drops to Chong, who brings it down neatly. And he always seems to do everything at 100 miles an hour, Tapi's Chong, but it's good football there to lift it wide to the left. And Giles, but he's challenged by Soufal, but it will be a throw-in for Luton a couple of yards from the corner flag down their left.
The fact that he does everything at 100 miles an hour means that the defenders have also got to do exactly the same to stay with him.
And both managers have now sent out a number of potential replacements to warm up on the far side in front of the new Bobbers stand, which was hastily constructed following promotion. And will be sat over there very soon as well. Now the cross played in by Nakamura. It's allowed to bounce by a Gerd. Adebayo was almost in there, but in the end, the ball never quite sat down for him, and the opportunity goes begging.
Well, I've got to say, with Fabianski sat on the bench, I think Areola's done particularly well this year, but I don't think today's one of his better games. He's been just stuck on the line, basically, and he didn't help Agard out at all with his verbal indication or his certainly start position.
It's an interesting one. Areola has started all 4 games so far this season. Made only 5 appearances in total during the previous campaign in the Premier League, although he was the regular European goalkeeper.
I think what he's done, he's decided to flip them this year, Nigel, and let Lucas probably play in the European games and maybe some of the Cup games, and the Fons has ended up playing the Premier League and be the starter.
Is that his nickname, the Fons?
He's known as the Fons.
Does he have the leather jacket in training?
He walks around with someone called Chachi as well, for those
people under the
Happy
age of 50
fans.
have got absolutely no idea what we're talking about. Declan, sat to our right, wants to take us off the air. 58 minutes played. 1-0 to West Ham. As Ward-Prowse heads the ball back towards his own goal, but Soufal is there to recover, and West Ham were just happy to knock it long, and use the pace of Bowen in situations like that, and Bowen has the ball now, but Chong comes to pick it back off him, and then Nakamba was taken down late by Ward-Prowse, and the referee, good refereeing from Paul Tierney, tried to allow the advantage, none was forthcoming, so play comes back for a Luton free kick.
I'm not sure whether it's because we're in Luton Stadium tonight as a throwback, but the referee's not been picky with time wasting, and all of those things and directives seem to have gone out the window this evening, and we've got a better game for it.
Kaminski clears downfield, and parts of Kenilworth Road do seem to be in a time warp in terms of construction. It's all a bit rickety, it's all a bit faded, but it is a great place to watch football, whatever level. And of course these Luton fans have seen their team in 5 different divisions now, the National League to the Premier League in the space of 10 years. Now Barkley back again towards Nakamba, and here is Reece Burke. And Luton here looking for a response on the hour mark into Morris, who's had a good game so far. Back towards Doughty, who comes across the field from right to left and finds Giles low ball in, looking for Barkley, but he's closed down on the edge of the 6-yard area. It was Alvarez with a very important challenge at the expense of a corner.
Top quality play there by Luton, great build-up, and when it was whipped in once again from those wing-backs who were getting very advanced, putting good balls in the box, great recovery from Alvarez.
And Ross Barkley will take the corner kick on the far side. There used to be the old clock in front of that corner flag, but it's no longer there following the rebuild. Barkley into the near post. It's not been dealt with really by West Ham, but in the end there was a deflection for Luton. Wasn't the greatest delivery, but it's another corner.
Well, there's some conjecture there whether it did come off a West Ham defender. They're arguing the point.
Barkley will try again with the corner kick as the Luton fans find their voices once again here. Deeper from Barkley this time, Burke with a header, and it's over the top. Rose well, but unable to keep the header down.
Well, the one thing they're doing really well is getting first contact in West Ham's box too regularly, and that would certainly worry David Moyes, I'm sure. Most things that have come in, free kicks and corners, it's been a Luton head that gets there first.
61 minutes played. You're listening to Luton against West Ham on Talksport with Now. And don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like this game live right now for $11.99 with no contract. Search Now Sports. And so much football coming up over the weekend on the Talksport network. We're live from Bramwell Lane, game day 11 o'clock tomorrow with Faye Carruthers. Sheffield United against Everton. Either side has a point. Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton will be your commentary team. As Ben Rama comes forward now for West Ham, in space down the left-hand side. Comes in field, then takes on Burke on the outside. Burke, though, has had a really good game. Slides in, makes the challenge inside the area and concedes the corner.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think he's been done really well, especially when he's been fronted up with Ben Rama, who's not the easiest to deal with when he's in full flight.
Corner kick for West Ham once again. 62 minutes played. They lead by a goal to nil. And the corner is deep to the far post. It's headed clear as far as Soufal. He will now take on Chong on the outside. High ball, but it's beyond everybody. Doughty is able to head the ball clear, but only as far as Ben Rama. Now Ward-Prowse in a central area. Lofts it wide to the far side again. And Soufal, a driven cross in. It'll come all the way to Ben Rama, who brings it down, but the shot right-footed was lacking power in the end, and it's gathered by Kaminski. He quickly clears downfield, looking for Adebayo, but a good leap and a good header away by Alvarez. But Luton have a throw-in, taken quickly by Morris. Down the line for Adebayo on this near side. Morris again on the overlap, but the ball was overhit, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
I must say I've been quite impressed with Alvarez. It's the first time I've seen him sort of live since he's been at West Ham. He's got a start tonight, and I think he's done a really good job just anchoring that midfield, knitting things together and stopping attacks when he's had the opportunity to do so.
He looks a really good signing at the moment for West Ham. Of course, cost a fraction of what Declan Rice was sold for, but they seem to have used that money very well, signing players like Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse and Mohamed Kudus and Mavropanos, the Greek international, currently out injured, but he could prove to be a good signing as well. More deals going through. Nottingham Forest have agreed to sign the Norwich defender Andrew Omobamidele on a permanent deal, Talksport understands, and he's apparently racing to complete his medical before the transfer window closes. Norfolk to Nottingham on a Friday night could be tricky. Now Adebayo on the far side for Luton Town. Back to Nakamba on the left corner of the penalty area. Chong is now in space to deliver the cross. It's blocked by Soufal. Benrahma with a clearance which was up rather than away, but in the end Bowen was underneath it. But Luton now have it back. Here is Giles. Giles there was crowded out, but West Ham have conceded a throw, and Luton here beginning to build some momentum.
Yeah, but I think the closer we get to that 90-minute mark, the more this crowd will come to the party if the score stays as is. There'll be a bombardment on the West Ham 18-yard box.
25 minutes to play. West Ham leading here on Talksport by a 1-0. As Antonio runs it out of play on the far side. More football coming up tomorrow. Sunderland Southampton from the Championship on Talksport 2 with Mark Wilson and Mickey Gray. Game Day Live with Adrian Durham with all the goals as they go in, and a full classified check at 5 o'clock. And Chelsea against Forest from the Premier League with Ian Danta and Perry Groves is the 3 o'clock game on Talksport 2. And coming up in the international break, we have all of the home nations covered, including Ukraine against England next Saturday at 5 o'clock, and then on Tuesday the 12th, Scotland against England. Also Latvia against Wales on the 11th. Before that, Kazakhstan against Northern Ireland on the 10th. And our first international commentary is next Thursday, and that also features the Northern Irish away to Slovenia. A couple of changes coming up very soon, one for each side, as Soufal has it for West Ham on the far side. It's played back in field, and it looks like Issa Kabore, the youngster signed from Manchester City, is the player who'll be coming on for Luton. Agurd with a high ball forward, lofted wide to the right, looking for Paquetá, but it's overhit. But David Moyes applauds the intention, and both teams could now make their changes. Pablo Fornals will also be coming on for West Ham.
Yeah, I think probably Fornals for Benrahma is often the choice of substitute for West Ham.
And Paddy Rudder-Kampanzu will also be coming on for Luton, the player who's gone from non-league to Premier League with the same club as Agurd. Harassed by Morris, but Agurd does well to get the ball clear on what is still a warm evening here at Kenilworth Road. Of course, a capacity crowd. We're all packed in very tightly in the main stand here as Alvarez plays it wide to the far side, and Soufal in front of that new stand. Now Paquetá. It does seem strange not to have the greenhouses on the far side. Now Alvarez again. He's been a contender for man of the match for West Ham. He's been the continuity player and also defensively been very good. Now Benrahma again down the left. He'll take on Doughty deep into the penalty area. Still Benrahma. He's got Emerson on the outside, but the flick from Benrahma never really gave him a chance to deliver a cross, and Doughty will bring it clear. And here is Adebayo down the line for Morris. Flicked inside looking for Doughty. The spin of the ball actually favours the Luton player. And here is Morris again. Now Nakamba. The switch to the left was on for Giles, but instead it's back to Bell. And Bell now can find Giles, but he's on the halfway line. But he steps away from Paquetá in towards Chong, who's able to turn. But in the end it's Alvarez who again clears. Long over the top. Looking for Antonio. He's got two Luton players around him, but he lays it off to Bowen into the penalty area left-hand side. The cross in is hooked away by Burke. He did well to hook the ball over his shoulder inside his own 6-yard area. Now Doughty, under pressure from Benrahma, just lobs it up in the air. Alvarez is under the ball with Barkley, and Alvarez wins the header. Finds Ward-Prowse. 68 minutes played. West Ham leading by 1-0. Looking to finish things off with a second goal here. Now Soufal again. Back to Paquetá. And West Ham comfortable enough to pass the ball around, not too far away from the Luton penalty area. And in the end, it's all the way back to the halfway line and Zuma. And now Ward-Prowse again. And here is Bowen, the only goal scorer so far, 7 minutes before half-time. And it's good football from West Ham because they're working Luton. They're making them put extra miles in their legs here that they don't really want to because they're doing it without the ball. Now Soufal again. Bowen comes short. And West Ham have had the ball now for well over a minute, and Luton have not had a sniff.
No, as I say, it's good. It's taking the gas out of Luton, but what you've got to do once you've moved them, you've got to make sure that you know what you're doing. There's a vision to hurt the opposition as well.
Now Soufal again, who has spent so much of the game inside the Luton Town half, getting forward down the right. Same goes for Emerson down the left, because they have Alvarez there as that defensive shield, who is without any doubt a less buccaneering player than Declan Rice, but he does give them that security which allows the fullbacks to get forward a good deal more. Now Antonio looking to roll the challenge of Anderson, who had arms and legs all over him, but in the end it's back to Kaminski.
They've done a minute and a half of keeping the ball, moving it, running the gas down the Luton. It comes into Antonio, he miscontrols it and gives it back to the opposition.
Now Antonio threads it through to Bowen. Kaminski with a desperate challenge. He did just enough. I think Bowen was offside and the flag is eventually raised anyway.
Yeah, it just went too soon there, but the build-up and all the good play, it normally has got to be benefited by the centre forward holding the ball up and bringing others into play. If he loses it, all that good play goes away.
Changes now being made, and while they happen, let's go back to Mark Wilson watching our Super League game, Hockeyster Rovers against Catalan Dragons.
Yeah, some turnaround here, Nigel. Rovers lead 26 points to 18. They were 14-6 down just before the break. Kane Lynette scored, and then Jack Walker, first possession of the second half, put Rovers in front. They were 20-14 up. Fuad Yahar got a try back for Catalans. Then a big moment. Try disallowed for the Dragons. Manu Mao got sin-binned in the next tackle. Rovers go up the other end. Mikey Lewis has scored. They lead 26-18 with 15 minutes to go.
Good game there. 19 minutes to play here. The changes: 3 for Luton. Jacob Brown, Paddy Relican-Panzu and Issa Kabore coming on for Elijah Adebayo, Ross Barkley and Ryan Giles. And for West Ham, as Stuart forecast, Pablo Fornals coming on for Said Benrahma, as Zuma inside the penalty area. Under pressure from Brown, just hacks the ball away on the far side, and now it's been given away by Soufal. And here is Chong into Paddy Relican-Panzu. And now Brown again delivers the cross in from the left-hand side. It's deflected behind and Luton have a corner.
Yeah, I've got to say the 3 substitutions for Luton, they were probably the 3 weaker players, I would have said, in this performance. And from West Ham's point of view, potentially Pablo coming on, more of a defensive sort of move, I would suggest.
Doughty will take the corner kick. High towards the far post again, and Areola this time just about claims it.
Yeah, I say first time he's come off his line since that one he spilled in the first half. That'll give the defence a lot more confidence.
Well, you can hear the Luton crowd here. Everybody on their feet in the Kenilworth Road end, and we can hear the vibrations of people stamping their feet in the main stand here, the old wooden main stand at Kenilworth Road. And Paddy Relican-Panzu has now come on to anchor midfield along with Issa Kabore, and Jacob Brown will be alongside Carlton Morris in attack. And a word on Paddy Relican-Panzu, Stuart. I know you didn't do it at the same club, but you came from non-league to top flight. A different era, I know, but in many ways, considering the disparity now in football, it's more impressive to do it now.
Yeah, it certainly is. The scouting network in professional football is that good that most talented young players probably have had an association with a pro club at some stage. But I still think the door's open there for players. Quite often they come back if they had the right mentality, the hunger to come again and not let a disappointment, maybe an early release potentially, I think they might come back with a bit more fire in their belly, if you like.
Here's Kaborde. Well, Paddy Ruddock and Panzu's first game here at Kenilworth Road was an FA Trophy replay against Staines Town. Here he is in the Premier League against West Ham United with 73 minutes played on Talksport, and the Hammers still leading the Hatters by a 1-0. But now Chong with the opportunity to turn and play it wide to the far side, and Doughty, but the cross in is swirled and overhit towards this near side, but it's quickly kept in play by Kaborde, who looks to work the 1-2 with Mpanzu. And now it's back to Burke charging forward. Jab wide towards Kaborde on this near side. He delivers a cross into the near post. It's headed away initially, and now Paquetá by the corner flag. Infield to Alvarez, and he looks a class act in this West Ham team. He really does.
Yeah, if you're looking at a like-for-like swap for Declan Rice, having left the club, he certainly, on tonight's showing, looks the part.
Now Bowen coming forward on the far side. Initially went beyond Nakamba, and Bowen eventually digs out the cross and by the corner flag, but it goes outside the penalty area. Luton will try and bring it clear, but it's given away by Brown. Now Fornals, Ward-Prowse and Soufal. And we're heading towards the final 15 minutes on Talksport. Our transfer deadline show coming up with Jim White and Alex Crook following this game. We'll also have reaction from the tunnel here at Kenilworth Road. 03717 223344 the number. And they will have all of the deadline day deals and whispers right up to the deadline at 11 o'clock and beyond. And you can check out our live blog as well, which is being constantly updated at talksport.com. 15 minutes to play. Mpanzu with a high ball wide to the far side, nodded on by Doherty down the left. Chong will chase. Soufal sliding in, great defending. Smothering challenge on the ground. He came away with the ball and then gets up to clear. He gets it back from Bowen, plays it down the line looking for Paquetá, but it's won by Bell. Here is Chong again. Now Doughty with a high cross in. Morris will go for it at the near post, and Areola claims at the second attempt.
Yeah, better work there once again from Areola off his line. Defended that really well.
Now Fornals, high over the top, looking for Antonio, and I think Reece Burke could hear him coming here. He could hear the thundering boots of Antonio, and in the end just knocks it straight out of play. It will be a throw into West Ham.
Yeah, Doughty just down over on the far side there, just nursing, I think, his Achilles. I saw him a few minutes earlier, just in front of us, just feeling the back of his Achilles, and he seems to have the same problem over there at the moment.
Well, there will be a change made by Luton very quickly, I think. It's just in front of the VAR area here at Kenilworth Road, which is basically an area roped off just in front of the fans. So if referees ever have to go and have a look, there are Luton supporters who will be in very close attendance. But Doughty is back on the field of play for now, but the question is, will he return? And I don't think he will. And it looks like Chidozie Ogbene, the Republic of Ireland international signed from Rotherham, is the player who will be coming on.
The young man said to me the other day, why doesn't the fourth official look at the screen when they go to VAR? Save the referee, you're not all that time.
Well,
he's part of the team, isn't he? He should give a qualified opinion. So I don't see any reason why, as part of his task over there, should be viewing the screen.
And then when he's getting a telling off from one of the coaches, they'll have something to actually tell him off about.
Exactly that.
Now Paquetá. I'm not saying they should do that, of course, but it always seems pointless to me that the fourth official gets it in the net for something he's not done. Not something you ever did, of course.
He's like an HR department, he is, actually.
It's a thankless task. Danny Ings will be coming on soon. And West Ham here are inching to their third victory in 4 games. And they will be top of the Premier League. And we've only played 4 games, but that would be the longest into a season they've been top since 1983. Now Zuma has gone down, clutching the small of his back. Fell heavily after winning a high ball.
I think we've had a really good I think both teams have gone at it a little bit. I don't think we've seen a yellow card, have we?
No.
Quite unusual, certainly for the start of this season.
But as you say, Paul Tierney has allowed the game to flow, and there have been one or two challenges, but at the same time, I think the game's been played in a very good spirit. We've barely seen a cross word.
Yeah, it certainly has.
And it's still Luton 0, West Ham 1. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes. You can back Luton to win at 18-1, West Ham to win at 4-1 odds on, or you can back the draw at 19-5. All thanks to Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 11 minutes to play here at Kenilworth Road on Talksport. This stadium's first game in the Premier League. And West Ham still leading by a 1-0. And West Ham may get a better idea of their overall standing after the international break, because they have a home game at Manchester City and a trip to Anfield.
Well, I think the form that West Ham are in at the moment, I think both of those teams won't relish playing West Ham this season. You know, they've been workmanlike more so than clinical, I think, tonight.
Yeah. But maybe coming to Kenilworth Road, you've got to be workmanlike.
You certainly have. They've defended their box well enough. And to come away from here with a clean sheet, if that is the case, then they'll be delighted.
Danny Ings comes on for Michail Antonio for the final 10 minutes plus added time. West Ham with 65% possession so far in the game. Luton have had 13 shots, but not a single one on target. And that's that lack of a clinical striker which has been their problem so far, as Reece Burke is unable to control the dropping ball in front of us. It goes straight out of play. And we are sat in a position here where if the left wing is going past him, we can almost touch him. Now Zuma.
I think Luton have got to break their shape a little bit. Certainly West Ham will be happy just to keep the ball at this stage of the game. They've got to break their shape. They can't have a back five watching the other five in front of them work. They've got to squeeze onto West Ham a little bit.
Now Ings. I spoke to David Pleat before the game, the Luton Town legend, and I said, how do you think they'll get on? And he said he just felt they maybe lacked an inspirational player at the moment, somebody who can grab the game by the scruff of the neck. They're all workmanlike, they're all very good at their jobs, they're all diligent, but they just lack that stardust. Here is Paquetá. Paquetá claims he was blocked off there as he tried to play a 1-2 with Emerson. No free kick given. Now Emerson does foul Chong after West Ham gave the ball away, and that is the first yellow card of the evening.
Yeah, rightly so. Rather clinical. I think Emerson had the ump a little bit that his teammate didn't get a free kick, and I can certainly support Mr. Tierney there by not giving a free kick.
And I asked Pleaty if he had an inspirational player when his team came into the top flight in 1982, and he said he had 5.
Well, he certainly did.
Ricky Hill, Paul Walsh, Brian Steen.
Yeah, it's a really good side. And a tough place to come in those days.
Absolutely. That's not changed.
No, let alone the plastic pitch here as well, I think.
Yep, plastic pitch in the 80s, and of course no away fans. Now Ings almost wins a ball as Anderson slipped. In the end, Burke was fouled, but Luton here playing a very high line as they push on, and West Ham are looking to pick them off.
Well, nearly another mistake there that let West Ham in.
And in the midst of those games against Manchester City and Liverpool, West Ham will also have the start of the Europa League group stage as well, so they'll have plenty of Thursday, Sunday football coming up, although they're used to that. Ogbene with a throw-in for Luton, but it comes to nothing. Now Anderson volleys a high ball wide to the far side, and Bell into Morris, who controls on the edge of the penalty area with his back to goal. Wide towards Ogbene. Fresh legs from him into the penalty area. High cross towards the far post. It'll come to Pelirela Kampanzu. Driven across the face of goal, and then Morris with the shot 6 yards out as it came to him. He claims a deflection, but a goal kick's been given. It was high over the top, and it looked a really good chance from here.
Well, once again, it's that man Morris, isn't it? You know, he's the one that seems to get on the end of things, and I think he's not smooth and silky, but certainly he's effective in this Luton lineup.
More changes for Luton. Taffy Chong is heading off, and Cauley Woodrow comes on. Born in Hemel Hempstead, not too far from here.
I'm a little bit surprised that Chong's the one that's come off. I've been quite impressed with him tonight. I think he's got a little bit of sparkle.
Now Ings on to Paquetá for West Ham. Into the area right-hand side. Bowen receives it. He's driven wide by Nakamba, and in the end he drives the ball off Nakamba behind for a corner with just over 6 minutes to play at Kenilworth Road. A corner to West Ham, leading by a goal to nil.
Yeah, we're going into the latter stages at this moment in time, and I think any goal from West Ham certainly won't get a reply from Luton.
Following game day countdown, we will have the transfer deadline show with Jim White and Alex Crook coming up at 10 o'clock on Talksport. West Ham looking to finish things off here. Ward-Prowse with the corner, Zuma with the rising header, and Kurt Zuma makes it 2-0. And West Ham United are heading top of the Premier League. Kurt Zuma with a commanding, towering header, and Luton Town are heading for their third successive defeat. Harsh lessons in the big time, but the Hammers are flying high. 2-0.
Well, it's probably one of the only times from a corner or a set play that certainly West Ham have got first contact, and I've got to say, it was a magnificent header. Unmarked, he's got above it and just drove it back into the near corner.
Well, we are top of the league.
Great header.
Seeing the West Ham fans, it's September the 1st, but they'll take it. Usually they're around the bottom at this stage of the season.
That's a little bit harsh. I think this last season will be a point in case. Prior to that, not so sure. But certainly some goal, and they've probably put the game to bed. And I think two probably reasonably clinical defensive mistakes by Luton have been very costly, but that's this division.
Yeah, two headers.
Yeah.
And it's a team which has been so strong in the air in recent years. Burke plays it forward onto the chest of Woodrow. Now Paddy Relican-Panzu. Wide to the far side, and Ogbene. He's forced wide, but maintains possession. And then plays a good reverse ball back towards Mpanzu, who goes down inside the penalty area. It's a penalty! A penalty to Luton! Relican-Panzu felled inside the box by Alvarez, was he? No, according to the referee. A goal kick's been given. Well, it did seem it initially signalled for a penalty.
Yeah, well, I think the angle that the referee was pointing, we weren't sure what he's got. I thought it was a good tackle. It certainly appeared that. We've seen it again. And I think it was just the angle that we've got from here with the referee.
Well, a goal kick's been given. Certainly the Luton fans behind the goal thought it was a penalty. Now it's flicked on. But cleared by Alvarez for West Ham. They lead by 2-0. 3.5 minutes to play. Now Morris for Luton, looking to come inside Agurd into the penalty area. Agurd with the back pass, and Areola deals with that. Long right-footed ball forward, up and over the halfway line. Ogbene looking to drive towards the penalty area. In the end, Ward-Prowse holds him up. And then Nakamba has given the ball away to Paquetá, and Nakamba fouls him, and that's a yellow card for the Zimbabwean international.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on Luton's account of themselves this evening, Nigel?
I think they've done okay, but I think the limitations that were hinted at in the first two games have been here. They're not quite clinical enough, are they? We can see a shot of Tom Lockyer in the crowd, missing tonight with a thigh injury, we understand. But two headers, it's fine lines in the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. On the run of play, they've had a fair share of it. Certainly entries into the final third and the penalty box they have, but I've just not had someone who that little bit of cleverness in there to read where the next ball's going to bounce.
And in the Championship, you can often rely on maybe defenders making mistakes, and they just make fewer mistakes in the Premier League, so you get fewer opportunities if you play that way. But they'll need to learn, and they've got a bright young coach in Rob Edwards.
Yeah, indeed, and I think they're going to have some super games this season, and certainly at Kenilworth Road they are.
Well, they've got games coming up against Fulham, Wolves and Everton, and if they could pick up maybe 4 points from those 3 games, then they will not be adrift at the bottom. And of course, Sheffield United play Everton tomorrow live on Talksport. Two sides without a point as well, as Paquetá comes forward now, fighting Bowen into the penalty area. Good challenge though from Anderson, and Luton will be able to clear as we go for full time at Craven Park in the Super League. And Talksport's Mark Wilson.
Yeah, full time. Hull Kingston Rovers 26, Catalans 18. A game decided really either side of half time. Kane Lynette and Jack Walker with 2 tries for Rovers that gave them the lead they never lost. Yahar pulled one back for the Dragons, but Lewis Lake try wrapped it up. It's a good night for Rovers. They go 5th. Bad night for the Dragons. They're knocked off the top. Hull Kingston Rovers 26, Catalans 18.
And the race for the Super League places in the playoffs is really hotting up now in the closing weeks of the regular season.
Certainly is. I'm up to Warrington tomorrow night to see the Super Wire take on Castleford.
That's a big game now.
It certainly is.
Hull KR winning tonight. Now Woodrow back again towards Anderson, and here is Burke, and we are inside the 90th minute. And West Ham are going to win 3 games out of 4 at the start of a Premier League season for the first time since Stuart Pearce was their left back. It's that long ago.
And that's a man who offered you a lift to the ground.
I'm sorry.
That's how you repay
1999. And they won in Europe that year as well, the Intertoto Cup. But that was a West Ham team which was full of young talent, guided of course by Mr. Pearce.
And a few old codgers as well.
Lampard, Ferdinand, Cole,
Carrick.
Absolutely. Minimum of 5 added minutes here.
That's 5 minutes time allowed.
Now Morris heads it forward on this near side, and it will go out of play for a West Ham throw-in. And they are about to give a West Ham debut to Mohamed Kudus. He'll come on for Paquetá. A player who is really only in his second established season at the highest level, Mohamed Kudus. Got 18 goals last season for Ajax. Has already scored a hat-trick in the Europa League qualifiers this season. Also scored in the Eredivisie in his previous game. And he gets an opportunity now. And in the Eredivisie, at least, he looked a real player. He's got power, pace, and an eye for goal. Now Woodrow with a ball forward over the top. And Morris is beaten to it by Zuma. And it will be a throw-in on this near side again. And Luton Town looking for maybe a consolation goal now. Bell high in towards Morris, who nods it down, and there's the header towards goal, and it's in. And Luton Town have their first goal at Kenilworth Road in the Premier League, and this game is not over yet. The high ball was knocked into the penalty area, and I think it was Mads Anderson who arrived to knock the ball beyond Areola. And with 3 minutes of added time to play, it is Luton Town 1, West Ham 2.
Well, I criticised Luton's defensive work in regard to the first goal for West Ham. That was almost a carbon copy, wasn't it? And it was that man Morris again, setting it up, heading it back, keeping it alive. And we've got a very interesting last few minutes.
Well, David Moyes will be furious. As a former central defender himself, he always highly prizes clean sheets. And just listen to the Luton crowd now. Mads Anderson, his last goal came at Forest Green Rovers. This one has come in the Premier League against West Ham United.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he may have not offered Ogbonna onto the pitch to make a 5-man back line and give a little bit of extra height. Because the one thing Luton are going to do, put the ball in the box now and get on the end of it.
They will get it launched in the final 2 minutes of added time. Luton 1, West Ham 2. Kaminski hammers it high downfield. Morris challenging with Zuma. It breaks to Mpanzu on this near side. Mpanzu looks to drive in the cross, but it's blocked by Fornals, and Luton have a throw-in on this near side. Can they do it, Stuart?
Well, they're certainly going to put the ball in the box. I think they've actually got a corner. So the ball is coming in the box, and with Morris in there getting first contact on most things, they've got a big problem on their hands, West Ham.
Woodrow with the corner, high to the far post, headed away initially, appeals for handball as it's cleared away by Kudus. And in the end, Kaminski will gather. He's the last player back, and he will hammer it forward again. Looking for Morris. Morris beaten to it by Zuma. And now Ward-Prowse, simple up and under from him down the centre. Fornals will chase. Kaminski playing well outside his penalty area, goes wide towards Bell. And here is Ogbene. Now Nakamba, high over the top, down the left-hand side, looking for Brown. But Soufal is there just to hammer the ball away, and we are inside the 95th minute. We saw a minimum of 5 minutes originally. Fornals has it on the far side. He may choose to try and go towards the corner flag with the help of Ings. And West Ham were looking so comfortable at 2-0. Now Ings drives the ball in, and it's gone out for a throw-in on the far side.
Really intelligent header there from Ward-Prowse. Just come to him, he could have just helped it on. And I'll tell you what, we're looking at a replay, and certainly Ward-Prowse has got contact on it, leading with his arm. I think that's a penalty, I really do. And I think they've got away with one there.
Well, John Brooks is the VAR official, and play has now continued. Now Ings. Soufal is in there, looks to win a corner, but it's a goal kick. And Luton here may have one final chance to get the ball forward. There will be some more added time at the end of added time in the aftermath of the goal. Kaminski plays it short. They've got to get the ball forward here. Here is Anderson. High and long, looking for Morris. He's beaten to it, but now Kabare has it. On this near side, the early cross into the penalty area. It drops at the far post. Ogbene with the shot. It's blocked by Soufal. Ogbene heads it into the penalty area, where it's claimed by Areola, and that should be that.
Real nervous moments here. The game should have been totally finished from West Ham's point of view, but Luton certainly will not give up. They keep coming, kept putting the ball in the box, and in the end got someone on the end of something.
The transfer show with Jim White and Alex Crook coming at the end of this game. We'll also get reaction live from the tunnel here at Kenilworth Road, where West Ham are hanging on, leading by 2-1. Luton launch it long downfield again. Morris will jump, and he's flicked it on, but he's flicked it all the way through towards Areola, and that is it. West Ham United are top of the Premier League. It is 3 defeats for Luton Town in their young Premier League lives, but they gave it a real go here in their first game at Kenilworth Road. The home crowd appreciating their efforts. They kept West Ham honest right to the very end, but the Hammers, with a touch of class, are top of the pile. It is finished. Luton Town 1, West Ham United 2.
Nigel Adderley, thank you very much. It's been a great night here at Kenilworth Road. And that last 10 or so minutes, Stuart Pearce, where Luton Town threw the kitchen sink at it to try and get themselves back into the game. They got what is, in the end, a consolation goal from Mads Andersen. But they were pushing, and they will feel like they should have got a penalty late on for a handball from James Ward-Prowse. Clearly struck his arm. It was not reviewed. You get the feeling that because the ball dropped to Mohamed Kudus, who controlled it on his thigh, maybe the VAR officials thought there was a shout for handball against him and didn't see Ward-Prowse in time. Doesn't matter how you look at it, Luton Town will feel massively aggrieved.
Yeah, I think there will be. For me, his arm was raised. It certainly had contact with his arm, but Luton are going to cause teams trouble here. The character, the support has been absolutely fantastic tonight. They've come away with great credit, and they pushed West Ham all the way. I think they probably had more entries into the box. They got on the end of things, and it wasn't until late on when they got on the end of secondary things. West Ham will be delighted to have won the game and come away from Luton. Luton will pick points up here, Hugh, no doubt in my mind.
They'll have to look at themselves, Luton Town, afterwards, won't they? Because the 2 goals from Jared Bowen and Kurt Zuma came from a lack of awareness and a lack of marking on their part. I mean, it's such an easy, if you like, rundown next week to look at for Rob Edwards and say, what could we have done better? Simple, pick your man up.
Yeah, it's fair to say that will be the case from his point of view, but you can see David Moyes is going to go in that dressing room now and say, hey, we've made things difficult for ourselves by ceding a goal that probably was very akin to Luton's goal in the first half.
It is a great start for West Ham United. Nonetheless, halfway through the transfer window, there were some West Ham fans that actually wanted David Moyes gone. Here they are, unbeaten after 4 matches, top of the Premier League. They haven't been top this far into a season since 1983. David Moyes and his team have silenced any critics they may have had.
Yeah, and probably you've got to give a little bit of credit as well to the people sat to my right, just behind me, the board of directors. There was a lot of clamour about not enough transfer activity. We've looked at Alvarez, who looked very good out there today. Ward-Prowse looked a good player as well out there, part of it, and kudos. Well, we'll see what he's about in the oncoming weeks, but and one or two others.
I thought you were just giving kudos to West Ham.
Kudos. Exactly that. But listen, they'll be in a fantastic position. 4 games ago, there was that clamour, and 1 or 2 people in the West Ham ranks potentially wanted David moved on, but certainly he's done well enough.
There is a fantastic ovation coming from the main stand where we're sitting as Rob Edwards and all of his Luton Town players, having already gone round most of the pitch, come to our side to appreciate the support that they were given by these fans inside Kenilworth Road tonight. And now Rob Edwards goes applauding above his head back into the middle of the pitch as his players make their way down the tunnel and the cameras train on Mick Harford and David Pleat, legendary managers at this club. And you wonder, could Rob Edwards do the same if he can bottle some of what these fans have given across tonight?
Yeah, what they've got to do is thrive off of this atmosphere, even at the end of the game, suffering a defeat. The crowd are here to a person applauding them, and what they've got to do, bottle that, but don't be gallant losers every week. Be bad losers. And they've got to come out and say, right, whoever we've got next up, certainly when it's at Kenilworth Road, we've got to give them a game that's going to galvanise us some points.
How does Rob Edwards